All right, we're about to record this episode of Just John and April, but before we do,
you guys go ahead and subscribe.
And click that bell.
All right, here we go.
Let's go. Welcome to Just John and April, the relationship podcast, your place for life, love, and laughs. In today's episode, cheat-proof your relationship.
Right.
Quick question and the word of the day.
Okay.
Hey, babe, how's it going?
It's good. I'm
Good.
really happy.
I am too. Why are you
The
happy?
Raptors won.
That's true. That's a big
And
deal.
it's not that I'm a Raptors fan.
So congrats to the Raptors and the Raptors fans. Excellent job.
Yes.
Kawhi Leonard, the three-peat stopper.
I'm just not a Warriors fan.
I hate the Warriors, man. Oh my goodness. And you know what? It's a bunch of likable guys, I guess, except the exception
Draymond.
of you don't
That's
like Draymond.
why I don't like the Warriors because of Draymond.
I don't like the Warriors because of
That's
KD.
it.
I like KD
That's it.
though. I just don't like what happened with KD leaving his team to go to another team in order to win. I mean, he left a team that should have beat the team he went to.
Yeah.
And then ended up winning. I guess they won 73 games the year before. And then he goes to that team. To me, that, I don't know. That just bothers me.
I didn't like that either. And I mean, I like KD, but
Yeah.
I really liked him before the Warriors, though.
Yeah, me too.
Like-
Especially when he won MVP and he told
not
his
saying
mom
I
she was the
don't.
real MVP
Yeah,
and stuff
I
like that.
like KD, but I just don't like Draymond.
Right.
And as long as Draymond's on the Warriors, I just don't. I think he's a great player,
Yeah.
but his attitude, man, I
Yeah.
just can't.
Yeah, I get it, man.
I can't.
Well, either way, an entire country of people now is
Yes.
celebrating because of that.
Yes.
That's
so
wonderful.
good.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So anyway, great job. Well, we posted an episode this past week. It was about the hashtag Black Men Don't Cheat,
Right.
right? And we got a lot of responses, many of them positive.
Yeah.
Most of them positive, I would say. People saying some good things about it. And so if you want to check it out, you go look back.
The John and April's Kitchen Table episode
Right.
on Black Men Don't Cheat.
Right. Anyway, so we thought we would do a follow-up episode today based on that. So just a couple of things. One of the responses that we got was from some women that I think probably were affected negatively by black men who cheated on them.
Yeah.
Who were basically saying that they felt like this hashtag was a way to redefine cheating. And I think you actually said this in the episode that we did before. You said basically that this is a way of saying black men don't cheat even when they do cheat.
Yeah, because the Urban Dictionary said something about that meaning black men don't cheat, black men just slip up.
Right.
Or men just slip up.
Right.
And so, like, that's what that really means,
Right.
is what it was saying. And I think women who had been through having a black man cheat on them was really upset about that because
Yes.
it's like, now you're giving them an excuse.
Right, exactly. So my response to that would be that I don't think that was the intent of the whole hashtag thing. I actually feel like the intent was more about changing the narrative, trying to make it different from the way that things are now. There's a stereotype that black men can't be faithful. And I think this is an attempt to try to reverse that, which I like.
I like
think
that
it's
too.
a great thing.
I think it's good.
And what you said in that episode was that you think it should be real black men, meaning a real man, a real black man would not cheat. And I agree. I feel like a real black man should look at cheating as a loathsome thing, something that they would
Right.
never want to do. It's a reprehensible act,
Right.
something that they abhor. They don't want to do that. They shun it.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's
Yeah.
not part of their playbook. It's not something that they would actually do. And
Exactly.
so to me, that's what made it positive. That's what I liked about it. So that's what I would say to this person.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't think this is about making an excuse for black men and redefining cheating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the reason why this had such an effect on me, a positive effect on me, this black men don't cheat thing, is because I feel like I was taught the opposite in the music that I listened to in high school.
True, weren't we all?
Now,
Yeah.
it turns out that I had a very good example in my father.
Same here.
I had a
Yeah.
father who was very faithful to my mother, and they've been married now for, I guess I'm 40. They've been married for 42 years. It'll be 42 years this year.
And my parents.
Actually, it'll be 43 years
almost
this year.
50 years.
That's right. Your parents will
Yeah.
be 50 this year. In fact, we're supposed to be going down to celebrate with them in Florida very soon to celebrate their
Yeah.
50th. So we have parents that have given us a good example of what it means to be faithful. In fact, my parents, I never heard them say the word divorce. Did you ever hear your parents say that? No. I mean, they never talked about it. Divorce,
that wasn't
cheating,
an option.
Those were not things that were even on the table. So the example that I saw from my father was excellent. Mm-hmm. But the example that I heard in the music I was listening to when I grew up, which my parents, of course, didn't know I was listening to,
right?
It was totally opposite.
Yeah.
Music I listened to actually encouraged cheating. In fact, the music I listened to made it sound like you weren't a real man unless you had multiple ladies.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. When you have a lot of ladies around you, you're a real man.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So faithfulness was not associated with being a real man. So this is what I like about this whole hashtag, because it's trying to change the narrative. We are saying black men think that cheating makes you not a real man.
Right.
I love that.
Rather than you're a real man because you got a bunch of women.
Exactly.
Which is what was taught when we were younger in the music and everything.
That's it.
So that is something that needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the lyrics to songs were things like, we don't love them hoes, or it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things we would say. We were obviously immature, 14, 15, 16 years old. We had no idea what we were really saying. But the reality is what was being taught was unfaithfulness is manly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I like about this is it's changing it. Faithfulness is manly.
It is.
Being a real black man, you're faithful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the question is, how can you cheat-proof your marriage?
Yeah.
Or your relationship?
Yeah.
How is it that you can keep this cancer from coming into your relationship? Because it is.
Yeah, it is. I think that's a good question, babe, because here's the reality. I actually think that having good intentions is a good starting point.
True.
So I really like the hashtag because it's saying we as black men are going to begin with a good intention that says being faithful is positive, right?
Right.
But I don't think that's enough.
It isn't.
Good intentions are cool, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So, I mean, good intentions aren't really enough. I think you have to do something deliberate.
You meant well, but
exactly. So
it didn't work out for you.
And we know people who didn't plan on cheating, who ended up cheating in their relationship. And by the way, I think it's important for us to actually say right here, we're talking about black men in this context.
Yeah.
But the reality is women cheat too.
Of course. Women cheat too. And I think actually, to be honest with you, that is something that is like not spoken about enough.
I agree.
Because I know just as many women cheating as men. It's like it's not uneven.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that men get caught.
That's right. Maybe women don't get caught as much.
A little smarter.
Yeah. Maybe they cheat better. I don't know. That's a shame, though.
It's true. I think that's the truth. And that needs to be spoken about, too, because we always put it on the men, but women cheat, too.
They do.
And I think women are more prone to emotional cheating.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about that in a second.
And we'll talk about that.
We're going to teach you how to cheat-proof your relationship. We have 5 different tips that we can help with to help you cheat-proof your relationship. Okay, so let's start talking about that. Let's just go into it. Now, we've already established that not doing anything is not good enough, Like, you can't just sit back and say, oh, I have good intentions, I'm good.
Right.
A lot of people fall into the trap. So that's really the very first tip. The first tip is don't assume that you're immune to cheating.
Right. Don't assume that this cannot happen to my relationship.
Right.
I mean, you have to know that most couples that this happens to, that was not the plan.
I wouldn't say most, but many.
I would say most.
I think there are some couples where one person was never intent on being faithful.
John, no, that is I don't agree.
Okay.
I would say that would be the
exception more than the rule.
Yeah, okay. I think most couples, you're going into a marriage.
Okay, you're talking about marriage. Okay,
of course.
Right, okay,
I mean, even relationships, like you dating now you may be dating somebody knowing that you're going to be talking to other people.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when you go into a committed relationship, you have committed.
You're right.
Okay.
I agree with you then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most committed relationships, you're going into thinking to yourself, this is it.
Right. And so you're saying going in thinking that because we're committed, because we love each other, because I like her, because I think he looks good, that doesn't necessarily keep you from cheating.
Exactly.
I agree.
Good intentions.
Exactly. That's not enough.
Right.
So start by not assuming that you can't cheat. You have the ability. Every human being has the ability to be unfaithful.
Exactly.
Which is bottom line. Now, one of my professors at school actually taught us this. And he actually said that if you think back to the people that you know that have been unfaithful in a relationship, notice, and in our case, he was talking about guys. He was saying, notice that a lot of times a man will not cheat on his wife with a woman who looks better, or a person
That's
who you
so
think.
true.
And then he also,
I see that often.
I see that often
And
too.
you're like, why?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Because
the assumption is you're
flyer.
dissatisfied with something in your relationship, so that's why you went outside. But he's
Right.
saying that's not necessarily the case. It doesn't have to be that the person looks better. It doesn't even have to be that you're miserable in your relationship.
That's true.
So people that have good relationships assume it'll never happen to me.
Right.
But I think that's a bad assumption.
Yeah.
So you got to start off by saying we got to do something deliberate to try to prove our relationship. We can't
Exactly.
just think we're immune
This
to
can't
that.
happen to us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the couples that it happens to, they're shocked.
Right. They are.
They can't believe that it happened.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
So that may be because they thought it was impossible for them.
Yeah.
So here's the second thing. Define what you think cheating is. Now, I'm talking about between you as a couple. This is a big one.
Yeah.
You know, I heard
this
last
is
week,
huge.
because some of the responses that we got, one of them was, one of our
Yes.
friends told us that she had a girlfriend who was dating somebody, and that person said, it's not possible to cheat unless you're married.
Right.
So
Right.
they're just dating, and he's saying,
Yes.
I can't cheat unless I'm married. Now, what do you think that guy was doing to her? He was cheating
probably
on her.
cheating.
He had
Now,
to be.
or at least looking at other women.
It had to be.
So and that's really huge because that kind of behavior can roll into your marriage.
That's true.
Like if you think it's nothing wrong with that and
Right.
then you marry that person,
Right.
you're used to doing it with that
Right.
person. So it's like,
Right.
hey,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
I can just keep being like this.
So here's the point. The point is, if you and I had a conversation at the beginning of our relationship before we got married, and I said to you, I don't think it's possible to cheat unless you're married, then you would say, what are you talking about? You can
We
cheat
would
even
not
when
have
you're
been
dating.
together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we
that
would have broken
wouldn't-
up right then. But the
would've been
point
a
is,
red flag.
the point is, we have to define it. We have to sit down and have a conversation and say, here's what I think cheating is. You know why I say that? Because I don't think people think that emotional cheating is actually cheating.
They don't. Yeah. A lot of people do not think emotional cheating because there's no sex involved.
Right.
And
people
so-
assume that only cheating involves sex. Some
That's
people say
right,
that.
right.
So that would mean that I could kiss somebody else
Right.
who I'm
And
you
it would
know,
be okay.
And it would be okay. And I'm saying, okay, no. We have to have an understanding of what we think cheating is.
Some women don't think certain things are cheating. Some
True.
men don't think they're cheating. But
Right.
I think that emotional cheating, the reason why people don't think it is because there's no sexual intimacy going on.
Correct.
But
But
with
no,
the
no, no.
emotional cheating,
I would use a different word. Say there's no physical intimacy going on because
I
you know
mean,
what, April? There is
yeah.
intimacy with emotion. That's
true.
really the
That's
point.
true. But I said sexual intimacy.
That's true. But I'm saying I think sexual intimacy involves emotion.
It does.
That's what I'm saying.
It does.
Sexual physical intimacy is different. I
true.
think sexual intimacy involves emotion. Emotion is a huge part of it, so that it's possible to not have physical sex with somebody and to emotionally be having sex with them.
Oh, wow. Emotionally.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're fulfilling that person in
Exactly.
a way that
Only your spouse
only
should fulfill you.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
With the idea of cheating just being slipping up.
Right.
You know, this is not a cheat. This is
Yeah.
just a slip up.
Yeah.
You know, because I just messed up a little bit. We didn't have sex, but I just, you know, got involved with this girl.
Yeah.
You know, that needs to be established in your mind, in your relationship. That's a no-no.
That's right.
The third cheat-proof tip would be don't confide in someone of the opposite sex about problems in your relationship. You know, that kind of thing can turn into the emotional cheating.
Yeah.
Because here you are now confiding in this person
Yeah.
of the opposite sex,
Yeah.
and they are comforting you in a way that is
You probably would want your spouse to comfort you.
right, but it's comforting. It's
yeah.
you're there for me,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And if it's when it's just your girl, that's different.
Right.
Or if it's just your guy friend,
Right.
you know, you're not gonna go in it like that. But when it's the opposite sex, especially if that other person has a bad relationship,
True.
So it's like both of you guys are coming together, talking about,
Right.
and here you are giving each other. You're listening to me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
my husband doesn't listen and you're listening.
Yes.
So now you're fulfilling that part. And oh man, it makes me feel loved.
Yes. Okay.
Why? Because I need someone to listen.
Right.
And you're there for me to do that.
Right. Exactly.
So now I want to talk to you every single day.
Right.
And then it moves from, okay, I'm talking about my spouse and our bad problems and everything to now talking about the needs that I have. You know
So
what I'm saying?
You're saying don't even open that door
No.
by confiding in someone of the opposite sex
No.
about your relationship that
see,
you're in.
what happens is in those kind of situations is that the person who is there for you to talk to
Yes.
then wants to fulfill those needs because they love you maybe as a friend and they see you hurting and they're like, oh man, I need to give her what she's not getting, or I need to give him what he's not getting.
Right.
So you know what?
So it could turn into something that you might not even been wanting to turn it into when you first started off with the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Let me give her what she needs. So I'm going to buy her things, or I'm going to, listen to her, or, whatever.
Wow. That's a big one. You know, it's funny. When you mentioned that one earlier as we were preparing for the show, I kind of discounted that. You
really?
Yeah. When you said, don't confide in someone of the opposite sex, I was like,
yeah.
Okay, why is that a big deal?
Right.
But I see what you're saying. I can see how that could evolve into something else.
And I'm not saying that you can't have a friend of the opposite sex to listen to you when you're having issues.
Right.
But what I am saying is that you have to be careful.
Yes.
Because it could turn.
Yes, right.
And it may not, and it's never the intention.
Yes.
That was never the plan.
You're saying when I confide in my friend of the opposite sex, I should confide about other things, not about my current relationship that I'm in.
I don't think you should.
I agree
Not
with
about
you.
the problems that you're having.
I agree with you.
Complaining about your spouse or whatever.
Right.
Because that person's going to want to,
yes,
fulfill those needs for you.
I agree.
And
I agree.
it's just, I think it's just setting you up.
I agree.
Is what I'm saying.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you're trying to cheat-proof it, you got to think about stuff like that. All right, here's the fourth one. Tend to the needs of your actual relationship.
Yes.
So we kind of talked about this in our episode where we talked about pushing love buttons.
Yes.
And so you can go back and check it out if you want to.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is.
It is. Because if my love tank is at zero.
Yes.
I mean, empty, like
Yes.
way down,
Right.
like past the red. I'm going to be looking for that tank to be filled.
That's right. Yeah.
And
as you'll look anywhere to get it, if somebody else is willing to do the things that your significant other is not doing,
exactly.
that puts you in a position where actually it makes it easier to step out of the relationship to get something fulfilled that you can't get inside your relationship.
To be honest with you, though, I think that if love tanks are empty and then filled, is it ebb and flows with that?
Yes.
I actually think that's better than it should just be on empty and just be staying on empty.
That's true. I agree.
For months and years.
Right.
Just because that's when I think
it comes.
to find that love
outside
is more tempting.
Yes. So if I'm tending to the needs of my relationship, that simply means that I am noticing what's going on that we need work on, and we're deliberately doing things to work on it. It could mean counseling. It could mean date nights.
Exactly.
It could mean just reading a book that would help me to understand, like the 5 love languages or something like that would help me to understand my spouse or my significant other better, and figuring out ways to make sure that that person is getting their needs met by me. Then I don't fall into this situation where they're going outside the relationship to get something I should have been giving them.
Right.
Last one.
Okay. Last one. Sexual fulfillment.
We talked about this too.
Not just having sex,
right,
but making sure that your partner is fulfilled sexually.
Yes, we talked about this in our episode called Please Me. It was about sexual fulfillment and self-advocacy. Check that one out too. That gives you some good information.
Important.
It's important because what April just said, having sex is one thing. Being sexually fulfilled is a very different thing.
Yes.
We got to have that in our relationship. If we have sexual fulfillment, there's no reason to go outside for that. So it's really the same thing as the previous one. If I'm tending to the needs of my relationship, I'm making sure you're fulfilled in things. Well, this is the same thing, but just specifically with sex. Mm-hmm. Sexual fulfillment is really important.
And I think the thing about this is sometimes people think that they are fulfilling their spouse. So I think a big part of this is communicating.
It is. You got to communicate with them.
Communicating that I'm not really liking this.
Yes.
I'm not really getting fulfilled sexually. And so I need these things.
Yes.
And I think it's a hard thing to talk about because it's a little embarrassing.
It is.
For somebody to tell you ain't doing it for me, buddy.
Right.
You're not giving me what I need.
Right,
That's a little embarrassing.
It is, but it's okay. You have to be able to have that conversation. And that kind of vulnerability in your relationship will make your relationship stronger in the end. So it's actually something that will actually help you in the long run. So learn to have those tough conversations.
And again, in relationships, ebbs and flows, you expect that. Yeah. But when it just stays at a low for years, I mean, sometimes it's years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, that's why there's a shock that comes because you're like, what happened? Right. We've been like this for years. We've been doing it. What's going on? But it's been going so long on that empty, on that low that it can't take it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So you really have to work on it. You have to be deliberate.
Yes.
So if you don't want to be deliberate, you don't need to be with nobody.
Right. That's the point.
Period.
Just be by yourself.
You don't have to be with anyone.
You don't have to be in a relationship at all. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Got to do it right.
Yeah. So cheat-proof your relationship, guys. Don't think that you are immune to it. you can cheat just like anybody else can, even if you're in a real good relationship that you like.
Because you're human.
That's it.
Now it's time for quick question.
Quick question. Okay. Yes. You're going to ask me a question and I have to just answer it honestly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Ready. Yeah.
Makeup or no makeup?
Makeup or no makeup? That's a good one.
It is.
Okay. Now here, my answer is actually sort of nuanced.
You know, you never have just an answer. You know that?
That's
he
not
never
true.
has an answer. He just said he has to go into,
Okay, fine.
So...
Okay, here's the answer.
Yes.
I prefer makeup, but I want it to look like you're not wearing it.
Ooh.
See? Exactly.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? My wife will give me no credit.
I give you credit.
So here's what I'm really saying. If I had to choose makeup or no makeup, I would say no makeup.
Okay.
I like the natural look. Mm-hmm. I like it better than the look where it looks like we're just caked on. I don't like caked on makeup. I don't like it. I just don't like it to look like you're wearing makeup. Okay. I just don't. I don't know why. I can't really explain why. I just like the natural look better.
Yeah.
I want to see your beauty for what it is, and I actually think there's even beauty in your flaws. I don't need your face to look perfect. If it looks perfect, it looks fake.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I like blemishes and bumps, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's good to know.
I do like it sometimes when you're dolled up, when we go out and stuff like that. But even when you do it, I love the way you do it because it doesn't look like you're wearing makeup like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's good for me. I just started wearing mascara for the first time.
All right, now it's time for word of the day.
Word of the day.
Word of the day is the word upstanding.
Upstanding.
Upstanding means marked by integrity.
Oh, and I love that word, integrity.
Integrity, I love the word too.
It.
Yeah. Integrity really has to do with what you are when nobody's looking.
That's deep.
It's not really about whether or not you think you're going to get caught or whether or not you see somebody watching you or something like that. It's who you are when you're by yourself.
And you know you're by yourself.
That's right. It's who you are when you know nobody is watching you.
Wow, what you going to do?
Yeah. So when you say I'm upstanding, that means I'm marked by integrity. That means I'm the kind of person who is what they are, even when nobody's looking. It's not about basically being faithful to my wife because somebody's going to find out.
Right.
It's not about me being faithful to my wife because she might kill me if she finds out that I, cheated on her. It's about making sure that I am who I am. I'm an upstanding person in the first place. Right. And I do what I do because I'm a person of integrity, not because there's any other outside reason. You know what I'm saying? You're an upstanding person.
Oh, thank
you. Know what I'm saying? I know that.
Isn't that great?
Anyway, I love my wife. And I'm glad she loves me too. At least I think she does. I'm pretty sure she does.
All right. Catch us next time on Just John and April.
Yes. Make sure you subscribe, click that bell, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching Just John and April.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell to be notified about our next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.